Hello guys and girls, what's up? This is Andrew here, bringing you this lovely video of how to do an oil change. So as you can see right now, this is the oil we used, and um, it's a 5W30. The car that's in question is a 2004 Nissan Sentra 1.8S, and it is due for an oil change. So you see in the video here, Ethan is trying to take off the lug bolt that, like the gasket that holds in the plug to the drain pan, to the oil pan. And basically what that is, after we break it loose, we can get the oil out so then the car can drain its oil. So what happens is, after you drain the oil, basically, you want to have something to catch it with, and basing on your car's oil weight, you want it to be right. But anyways, excuse me. So the oil comes out all fine and dandy. Make sure when you break that bolt loose to the point where you can unscrew it with your fingers, make sure you are holding on to the bolt, so when the oil does start coming out, you don't have to search around in a few inches of oil to find it, because you will need the drain plug after you're finished draining all your oil. So basically, as you can see, we have our oil catcher and our oil pan, and Ethan's sitting there with his father sitting here trying to break loose the bolt. And on my car, the bolts are a little rusty, so they're a little tough to get off. But we eventually got it off. And make sure when you are changing your oil to not do it right after you are done driving, because the oil will be extremely hot and you could burn yourself. So make sure you let your car sit for 30 minutes before you touch the oil at all. I didn't know how hot the oil got because I was working the camera, but Ethan didn't flinch at all, so it shouldn't have been too bad. Um, so, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And there you go. You can see that the oil is draining out. No problem there. He's holding it. Then you want to clean off that cap, and so then you put it back in all nice and clean. Alright guys, so now we have moved on to a new part, or a new step within the process of changing your oil, which is highly recommended by a lot of certified mechanics, which is to change the oil filter while you're changing the oil in your car. So basically, after you drain all the oil in your car, there shouldn't be really just a whole lot left in this filter. Basically, you want to change the filter so then you run nice clean oil through the engine, and it's a lot easier on the engine and on the car in the end than just being lazy and skipping over this crucial part. So when I went to Advanced Autos today, they didn't have this oil filter socket that would fit the car, but the car's OEM style oil filter. But they did have a clamp kind of thing, so I bought that. It was this oil change really all in all for the oil and the oil filter and the clamp was all about maybe 20 bucks at most, and maybe an hour and a half out of the day, because Ethan and I were learning, so it'd take a little bit longer. But if it was just his dad, we would have been over in like 30 minutes max. So really, it's not a short job, and this video hopefully will help show you how to do this. Especially for anyone who's just wanting to save a few dollars, this is definitely the way to go. And one thing that we found out today about the car is only takes 2 7/8 quarts of oil, and that right there is a rare thing to happen. Most of them take about 4 or 5, sometimes more, but not much more and not much less. So in reality, the oil change probably cost about $10 to $12, because I got hyper mileage oil, which does nothing once you hit a certain amount of miles on your car. But as you can see here, this white thing, this is the oil filter that's on the car right now. After you break it loose, you want to step away, move your face, move your face away, like your head away from this thing, because you will see that once it comes off, a little bit of oil will drip. But it's not going to be a real concerning amount. Basically though, when it's about to come off, just take it off just like that, and just lay it face down the oil catcher that you have underneath your car. And when you're done with your whole job, just throw the oil filter away in the garbage and you're good to go. But anyways, I've already driven the car today, and of course this voiceover is a little bit later, and the car is running fine right now. We had other leaks within the car, so it has put me on edge. There's been a transmission leak and a power steering leak, so I've been watching that ever since we found it out today. That's why the engine bay is there's a lot more dirt and it's a lot more wet looking. It's because of that. But yeah, this so far so good. No problems, no issues. Everything's running smoothly, minus those finds that we have found with the engine and everything. But yeah, as you can see there, if you're not careful enough, you want to clean off any excess oil that drops in the side of the engine bay, because if you don't, it'll possibly catch fire or start smoking a lot, and then And just really quick, I just wanted to show you real quick in this little footage. We were searching for the oil filter at the time, and most of the time on most Japanese cars, the oil filter is right next to the oil pan. Like, it's on my Nissan, it is near the front suspension, pretty much kind of near the air intake. It is I think it's in a pretty usual spot on most Nissans. It's around there. I haven't checked the Pathfinder, but yeah, that's what it looks like. It's just a white little Protec. Alright guys, so really quick, Sean is getting ready to explain what the next steps are to put in the new oil filter, and really quick, Ethan is just going to wipe out all the excess oil that was left from the past oil filter that spewed around a little bit everywhere. And yep, so here's Sean.
Yes, I'm sure I got it.
Okay. I thought you said all we got over here too.
It's over here by the wheelbarrow. The ones we got.
Okay. We'll use his two and this one.
Okay.
Oh, are you waiting on me?
No, I'm just like.
You're cleaning?
Yep. What was
All
this?
You need to do this to your new oil filter.
Okie dokie.
It's out of here lunch. If you're changing an oil filter and it happens to sit just like this, it's nice. You can actually pour some oil in this and screw it straight in. I already have oil in the filter, which is better for the motor, but in this case we can't because it says sideways. But you always do this. Right. That rubber will get hot and will stick to the block, and it makes it hard to get off. And this right here will help make it, keep it so it will break loose. If you don't do that, you'll have a hard time getting the filter off. And thing now, just don't rub that against nothing. Stick it up on there. You're gonna thread it. If it stops, don't force it. Back it off, and I'll look at it. But it should be pretty easy to get it up on the threads, and just be real easy and turn it.
Since it starts just feeling tight, just.
Well, if you think it's not threaded right, you've got a gap here, there's something wrong.
Okay.
If you thread it on and it's threading and it's going, then it stops, or you're about tight. But just don't cross thread. That's the key.
Yeah, that's good.
The screw on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just keep spinning it.
Yeah, it's.
It spins real easy.
Yeah.
Now grab it with your hand and turn it until it's pretty snug. Kind of tight.
Yeah.
When you think you're there, just let me know.
Yeah, I'll let you.
Alright, well, grab hold of it with your palm of your hand. And you probably put one hand over top of the other if you can reach it.
No.
Grab hold of it, squeeze it hard as you can, and turn to the right. Hand tight is all you need to do to an oil filter. You crank it with a socket or a wrench, you'll over tighten it. And,
Yeah.
okay, let me feel it. Make sure there's nothing leak on you.
A little.
It's on?
It's on. I've already turned it at least 4, turn more. Give me another paper towel.
Alright guys, so after we put on the oil filter, the brand new one, now we move on to the next stage, which is putting oil into the car. Which for this car, it is 2 7/8 quarts of oil. And now you got to be careful of how much oil you put in. Like, don't overflow it, because then you can get a bad oil leak. So you might want to grab a funnel before this next step, or just try not to overflow as much as you can. You got to be really careful, and any kind of excess oil you just want to clean off, especially if you haven't put any in yet, to keep the engine nice and clean.
I always tell Ethan, dude. It's like around that oil filter, especially on mine, in the front, that spills all over the place. Blow it off and wipe around it before you
Start pouring.
Yeah, that way make sure you don't get nothing inside the motor. You'd be amazing. The smallest little piece can actually damage your motor pretty well. Wipe like this and try to wipe it away from going into the inside of it. Alright, what we'll do, we'll start with 2.5 quarts. And you got these 2 big quarts over here, we'll grab them.
Silver ones.
Oh. Yeah, that's really close, so I'm gonna have to pour it kind of slow. Get careful.
Oops.
See how shallow it is in there? If you pour too fast, you'll run it out. So, let's see how fast you want. A little more than that. There you go. Just watching around the hole. If it seems like it wants to build up in the funnel, back off. You put it a little faster. As long as it don't try to start backing up in the funnel, you're okay. It shouldn't run up out there. Well, okay. Now pour it up there and set it down. Just sit there a minute. Like your mother trying to get the ketchup out of the bottle.
Alright guys, so now we've gone through 2 quarts of oil, moving on to the last and final 7/8 quarts, which we did put in the car exactly on the money. Really though, Sean was really great at showing us how to change the oil step by step, and he did a really good job explaining. That's why I left some of the audio in there, because as he was talking to us, I'm sure I couldn't have played telephone and gave it back to you all as good as he did originally. So pretty much that's why I left it in just like that. There may have been some awkward audio silence, but it was definitely worth it to hear what he had to say. Alright, so start up?
Yeah, start up, let it run. You should have it all light.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. As soon as the all light goes off,
Alright. Alright, let's see.
Where is it?
It's gonna be right there.
Yeah, it's right there.
Alright. What? Did he cover his ears because of the belt? We're still doing pretty good on time. It's only like almost 2:30.
yeah, we got much to do today. Now, you can see your line here. That's your safe range. See the H, it's high, that's low.
Right.
You want it near the top of the safe range.
Right.
That's going to be where it needs to be at.
So is it there?
I don't know. We're gonna find out.
Oh.
Hold the light over top of it. Can't hard tell. You turn it over. See the backside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, it's in the middle of it.
Right.
This backside, you can see it didn't run up over it. See, it was kind of hard to tell there, so we do need to add just a little bit to it.
So basically gonna take about
Little
under
2 quarts.
That's insane.
I've never seen one take less than 4 quarts.
Because after Ethan told me it's like 2 quarts, that doesn't sound right, and I was like, "This is what the manual said."
That's why I said, well, he's probably reading liters.
Like
or
Imperial.
something. And I was like, that can't be right. Ain't no way. 3 quarts. Well, at least be cheap on an oil change.
Oh yeah, and it runs on it pretty well for a while.
You're gonna need to learn to check all your fluids regularly with stuff you got leaking.
Right.
If you don't, you're gonna end up burning something up.
I noticed though the steering in this car is heavier than like the Camry, but I think the Camry has what, electronic steering?
Yeah.
Oh, it just has its power.
It's no power steering.
See, because hers feels lighter than mine.
the focus is really light.
That one might be electronic.
What? The second one. We'll start again for a second. Hold on. Probably because you're low. Even on the minimum code. See, it's got a hot max, cold max,
Right.
and a minimum code. You're at the minimum code.
And cold's less.
Yeah. So what? Yeah, cold fluid gets smaller. When
Right.
it's hot, fluid expands. You need to look in your owner's manual because it's very possible by the looks of
Alright
it.
guys, so yeah, basically after we knew the oil was done and everything was fine, we decided to move along to check the power steering fluids and then check the transmission fluids. We ended up putting in a little bit more power steering fluid. But anyways, tomorrow morning when Ethan and I are going to school, we're going to use the GoPro, strap it on my head while we're driving to school to kind of show you how the car is driving right now with the oil running through it. I've had some minor issues since we've put in the new oil. I don't know if it's other issues or it's the oil. I think it's definitely a different blend from what I've used already or what was already previously in the car. Hopefully the car runs smooth as butter tomorrow, because if not, we'll bring it back in, talk to Sean, and kind of get an idea of what's going on, because once you hit a certain RPM in the car, the engine starts shuddering a lot, but it's not transmission shudder. I do have a camshaft sensor going off right now that says it's thrown up. That's why the check engine light's on. Also, when I did start the car, your car will start up just fine, promise. My car also needs a new starter, so that's why it struggles to start from time to time. Plus, the cam sensors, that's another big problem. That's why the car can't shift right from time to time, or why it doesn't want to start up a lot, because I can explain all day why the camshaft sensor is a big problem. But anyways, so probably the next film you're about to see is the GoPro footage, and I might just use raw audio for that and just boost it, because there's no way I can voice over at school for that, because we will be heading to school and it's gonna be noisy, and my Mac doesn't have the world's best audio for doing a voiceover like these Logitech microphones that Ethan and I own. But anyways, this is probably gonna be the last voiceover, so we do hope you all enjoyed the video and hope it was a very helpful video. Like I said, right now you should see on the screen that there's a website, and you can go to your local AutoZone or Walmart or any auto care center like Valvoline, and you can go buy oil there for relatively cheap. In the end, it's going to save you a lot of money. We were all talking about how much it costs for an oil change at like some places. They were quoting 4 quarts of oil, or just on the oil, like $55 to $75 for an oil change, and we can just easily get it at home. I could get 4 or 5 quarts of the oil we put in the car today for like 20 bucks, which is nothing. And this car only took about 10 bucks of oil, and oil filter $4. The tool that we needed was like, that we ended up not even using, was like $3. So in the end, oil change was really simple, really easy, really cost efficient, and you guys should really try it. I went to AutoZone to buy all the parts, and they were very helpful. They're definitely good customer service. Just our AutoZone that's near our house just always has a line, and it's always the slowest thing on earth. But kudos to them for being helpful to us and me. And we originally thought, because I told them, I said, well, I got 2 quarts of oil, and everyone kind of just went, well, that's not enough for a car. So we all freaked out. Then they went and bought 3 more quarts of oil that kind of matched what I had already bought, and eventually it ended up not needing but more than 2 and maybe half a quart of oil. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video.